Hello, I'm Carolyn Baker, and I'd like to tell you about my new book, Dark Gold: The Human Shadow and the Global Crisis. Now, you may be wondering why, given the state of our planetary predicament, anyone would want to read a book about the human shadow. Don't we all know how bad things are, and don't we know that human beings are largely responsible for the crisis? Indeed, we know this. But we may not understand that our destructive behavior is a result of the personal and collective shadow, a part of ourselves and the world of which we may be unconscious. Yet that very shadow holds a treasure trove of emotional and spiritual gold if we're willing to consciously work with it. As a result, we can experience tremendous healing within ourselves and within our communities. Dark Gold is a toolkit for looking squarely at the personal and collective shadow and committing to a path of healing it. At the end of each chapter are clear and specific practices for doing this, and these practices can be implemented individually or in a study or support group.
I'm honored and delighted to speak on behalf of Carolyn Baker's Dark Gold, which I have the delight to introduce. I think the central subject for all of us at this moment, the real topic of inner discussion that we all need to pursue, is the nature of the human shadow, the nature of the collective shadow that is erupting everywhere in this vast global crisis, and the response from the personal shadow to that collective shadow. For a long time, I'd wanted to read a book in which I could find a real comprehensive, unflinching vision of the collective shadow and a real comprehensive, unflinching vision of the relationship of the personal shadow to the collective shadow. What is so astonishing about this book, Dark Gold, is that it manages to be both an overall vision of the crisis and the kinds of shadows it creates, and the very calm, clear, understanding vision of the shadows in ourselves that are arisen by this crisis and also keep this crisis going. Carolyn has done something I think completely unique. She has brought her whole life's knowledge of the crisis, her whole internal knowledge of herself and her reactions to this crisis and the reactions of hundreds and thousands of people that she's taught. And she's managed to bring it together into a book that is clear, wise, pragmatic, and filled with simple but very powerful practices that can help anyone who wants to experience the inner truth of what she's saying. I think Dark Gold should be read by every human being, and especially by every sacred activist at this moment, because sacred activism cannot be as effective as it must now be without a deep, sobering, grounded knowledge of the shadow. We are not sacred activists in a spirit of triumphalism. The crisis makes that triumphalist spirit ridiculous and totally impossible. We're sacred activists in an extremely dangerous, terribly painful situation, which requires that we become absolutely conscious of the outer and inner shadow. And in Dark Gold, we have a book, at last, that can help us become conscious. Carolyn, I am so grateful for the wonderful work that you've done for so long. And I am especially grateful that out of all of those years of work, you've been able to quarry so lucid, so passionate, and so profoundly useful a vision of the shadow and the gold that's hidden for us. Thank you.
We all want to experience wholeness, and in this time of systems collapse and abrupt climate change, we all want to live lives of peace, passion, and purpose. We all want to deepen our connection with ourselves, with each other, and with the Earth community. As prospectors In search of the gold within ourselves and within the global crisis, this book offers a way to mine the energies of the shadow and discover the treasures it holds for each of us.